I am your host, Mashuma Saba, M. Saba, and this is our Cultural Variety Podcast. Stay tuned. Peace, 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 and welcome to Coffee Talk Podcast, the Cultural Variety Podcast Show. And I am your host, Mashuma Saba, M. Saba. And this is our Cultural Variety Podcast. How y'all doing today? Please forgive me about the intro. I had a piece of gum in my mouth, and my mama and my grandmama taught me never to be chewing gum when you're talking to an audience or in front of someone giving an interview. So definitely gotta watch that. Hey, but it's Wednesday night. It's November 7th, 2022. And on a scale of 1 through 10, with 10 being your lowest, well, 1 being the lowest and 10 being the highest, tell me how you feel. Give yourself a rating on how you feel tonight. And may Coffee Talk Podcast inspire you in some type of way through our stories of our people, our ancestors. May that inspire you. May that uplift you. May that motivate you. But on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel today? On a scale of 1 through 10, I feel about an 8. I could be better. But I'm not worse. So that's a good thing. On a scale of 1 through 10, I'm about an 8. I feel real good. And I'm happy to be here. Happy to be here with you all. So thank you for tuning in to Coffee Talk Podcast, our Wednesday night sports edition. Now, we're not like your average sports show or old media show. We don't really care about who won or lost an event. But what we do like to do is we like to take you behind the scenes and give you the intricacies that go on in the sports world. So that's what we're going to be discussing today. And we got a good show lined up. We're going to talk about Cheryl Miller. If you never heard about Cheryl Miller, she is the sister of one of the greatest NBA shooters in the history, Indiana Pacer Reggie Miller. So we're going to talk about Cheryl Miller today on our sports show. And then we're also going to talk about one of the greatest brothers in boxing that come out of the city of Brooklyn, represents Brooklyn to the fullest. This brother has so much heart, man, and he is an inspiration. We done seen him at his height, and we done seen him fall, and we done seen him rise back up again. So his story is important. We're going to talk about Zab Judah. And then we're going to finish up with just a 2-page read from the book by Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich and the Law of Success. And we're going to be dealing with chapter 5, which is specialized knowledge. So we're going to be talking about specialized knowledge. So thank you for tuning in to our sports night. And, how you doing? Go ahead and drop us a comment. Let us know how you feel today. Let us know how you're doing. What's your admiration? What is your goals? How do you want to end the year? As you know, it'll be 2023 in less than 3 weeks, about 3 weeks. So we'll be going into the new year, man. And, every year, a lot of you people, you come up with your New Year's resolutions, and you probably don't follow them by the time it becomes March. I'm just kidding, but some of y'all, that's normally how it is. They even do statistics on that. They say people that do New Year's resolutions, they usually stop the shit in like 2-3 months. So if you say, look, this is 2023, I'm going to go ahead and exercise. I'm going to start committing myself to the gym. Usually around March, that's when people usually give up. But hey, the thought counts, right? And then there are some that maintain, and those are the ones that we congratulate. Those that can stay true to themselves and also true to whatever they decide their New Year's resolution is. So, we definitely give props to anybody that can follow through on what they say. You know what I'm saying? All right, so it's Wednesday night sports edition. Like I stated, I am your host, Mashuma Saba. You can call me Dot. You can call me M. Dot. You can call me B. I have many names, for my personal people and for my professional people that I deal with in this business. But hey, listen, let's go ahead and talk about it. If this is your first time tuning in to Coffee Talk Podcast, the cultural variety podcast show, we never start the show without giving you its flavor. So we definitely got to give you its flavor, and we also want to give you your wise words, and then we're going to begin our show. All right. So today's flavor is this. Today's flavor is Kenyan coffee. Why Kenyan coffee? Well, in the Twin Cities right now, it's just real cold right now. If you could do a cappuccino of some sort or some coffee or something to warm the body, that's what's going to make it a nice night to watch a movie or do some late night work in your own home offices or, do whatever you do. But tonight's flavor is Kenyan coffee. Kenyan coffee can be described as vibrant and bright. Vibrant and bright. It's regarded as a high quality coffee. And coffee right now is $100 billion industry, in case you didn't know. So, coffee is for the sophistications. It also opens up good communication, good dialect with others. So, that's why a lot of people are getting paid off of coffee, $100 billion industry. Why do we consider the flavor tonight to be Kenyan coffee? Let's give you our 3 top benefits. Number 1, it boosts the energy levels when you drink coffee. Number 2, it reduces the risk for Alzheimer's disease. I stumble sometimes, but it reduces the risk of Alzheimer's disease, and it reduces, those types of forms of dementia. Also, our 3rd top benefit regarding Kenyan coffee is that it lowers the risk of type 2 diabetes. So this is what Coffee Talk Podcast is. We make you smile, we make you laugh. We also give you informative information, and that's why you come here when you want the flavor, no doubt. Tonight's flavor, Kenyan coffee. So what you should be doing right now on a cold, brisk, chilly night like tonight is once you just come on in, pour yourself some coffee, a cappuccino, some water, some wine, a smoothie, whatever you do. But come on in, kick your feet up, and enjoy yourself in our humble home here at Coffee Talk Podcast. All right. Now, this person bringing us the wise words. He also brought us the wise words about 2 weeks ago in one of our episodes. This gentleman goes by the name of Leon Brown. He was born November 16th, 1948. He was a professional baseball player. He played outfield, and he started his career in 1976 for the Baltimore Orioles. His wise words is this. Your life is a product of your thoughts. What you think about all day becomes the basis of your life. I'm going to say that again, the wise words of Leon Brown. Your life is a product of your thoughts. What you think about all day becomes the basis of your life. Think about that, y'all. So if you're thinking about negative things all day, you probably living in a negative lifestyle, and you were just around a bunch of negative things that continue and constantly come into your world. So if you want to make sure that your world is more positive than negative, then you have to take control of that. You control what you let in and what you let out. So make sure that every day or every interaction or every intention is filled with a positive thought. First and foremost. So again, that's our wise words for Leon Brown, one of our ancestors and former baseball player. All right, so let's go ahead and get right into our first segment. And I was thinking about this lady today because she is a great lady. She did a lot for the sport. And, you know, I'm going to have to do this. I'm going to have to ask y'all, just give me one moment, all right? Just give me one moment, because I didn't bring up the sister's picture, and I really want to do that. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to talk about somebody and give them all their props, and then we don't even got her picture up. You know what I'm saying? So let's make sure that we can do that. Just give me a moment. Got a few pictures of her that I want to bring up, and we're going to start this one off. There she is right there in the upper right hand corner, looking like her baby brother. But this is Cheryl Miller, former basketball player for USC. Cheryl Miller was born January 3rd, 1964 in Riverside, California. Riverside, motherfucker. I had to do it, y'all. I had to do it because, hey, that's a movie scene. Please forgive my French. But Cheryl Miller was born January 3rd, 1964 in Riverside, California. She attended Riverside Polytech High School as well as USC. Cheryl Miller, in her career, or in her 128 game career, Miller established herself among the all-time NCAA scorers. She actually scored 3,018 points in 128 games, which is an average of 23.6 points a game. She also was a rebounding specialist. She averaged, or she had a career of 1,534 rebounds, which is an average of 12 rebounds per game. The reason why we salute Cheryl Miller this evening, Cheryl Miller is the WBCA, Women's Basketball Collegiate Athletic Association Player of the Year, 1984 and 1985. She also, in 1991, was International Women's Sports Hall of Fame inductee. She was inducted into the International Women's Sports Hall of Fame. Also in 2010, the Federal International Basketball Association, the World Hall of Fame inducted her into the FIBA. She had to be a bad player to get into the World Hall of Fame of basketball. That's where you're recognized, not just in the WNBA or the NBA or the United States Basketball League, but for the entire world. That means you had game. People recognize you. You know what I mean? Cheryl Miller led the United States to a gold medal in 1984 Olympics with 16 points as they defeated South Korea 85-55. Cheryl Miller was the first woman to dunk in organized basketball and organized play back in 1982. Cheryl Miller scored 105 points in the game for Polytech High School in Riverside as they defeated North Vista High School. So this woman put in work, man. And no, she wasn't that tall. Yeah, she was tall for a female. She's actually 6'2". But man, she used to put in work. Reggie Miller once told people that she was way better than him. Reggie Miller is at least one of the top three-point shooters ever in the history of the NBA. Cheryl was coach of 2 NCAA championship teams as well. She not only played for USC, but she also led them to 2 national championships as a coach. So, I mean, this is just her legendary status. Cheryl Miller was a big influence in why the WNBA was created. She also did broadcasting for the NBA TNT networks. So today, here on Coffee Talk Podcast, we want to just go ahead and salute one of our own, as we always do. But we want to give props on our Wednesday night sports edition to no other than Cheryl Miller. Salute, Queen. No doubt, no doubt, no doubt. And I just want to put up another picture of Cheryl, man, just for anybody that's inspired, because, you know, we have a lot of young ladies that want to go into active sports, basketball, whatnot. And this is someone that is very encouraging. Cheryl is very encouraging. As we stated, we read her bio, You know, she's a hero, man. She's someone to look up to. She is an inspiration to not only the young ladies but men as well. So again, we salute Cheryl Miller here at Coffee Talk Podcast, the Cultural Variety Podcast. All right, now going into our next segment, we like to go ahead and give props to one of the baddest brothers to put the gloves on, man. Um, this dude, man, what I enjoy about him is that he's a fighter's fighter, man. He was a brother that competed with against everybody. He didn't run from nobody. Um, Always came with a nice fight. One of the greatest southpaw boxers in the history of boxing, man. He had a nice, sweet style to himself. Zab Judah, again out of Brooklyn, New York. Zab Judah was born October 27th, 1977. He is 5'7". Again, he is a southpaw boxer. He actually fought and competed in the lightweight division, the welterweight division, and the light middleweight division. He had a record of 56 total fights, which were 44 wins, 10 losses, 2 no contests, and 30 wins by KO. As an amateur, though, the boy went 105 and 5. 105 and 5. So he beat a lot of people, man. He beat up a lot of people and didn't take that many L's, man. He competed from 1996 to 2019, and he held the titles in 2 different weight classes. And that's why we're saluting Zab Super Judah. He was the IBF and WBA junior welterweight champion, and he held the titles from 2000 to 2004. He also had an undisputed, he was also undisputed welterweight champion in 2005, and then he went along and regained that title after losing it. He regained it again, undisputed, in 2011. Zab Judah ended his career in 2019 with a loss to a brother by the name of Cletus Selden, who stopped Zab Judah and also sent Zab Judah to the hospital with a brain bleed. Let's talk a little bit about Zab Judah's career. One of his top fights was against one of the Spinks family, Corey Spinks, and he fought Corey Spinks actually in a fight that is still considered a dispute in certain areas, man, of sports. Is that when he fought Corey Spinks, he went to a 12 round unanimous decision. However, he knocked Corey Spinks down 2 times in the fight. He had knocked down once, but the scorecard read differently, and they gave that title to Corey Spinks. That fight took place on April 10th, 2004, and that was for the undisputed title, the WBA, the WBC, and the IBF championships. However, like I said, this brother's a warrior, man. So Zab Judah, he actually avenged his loss against Corey Spinks with a TKO victory. The second fight got real busy on him real quick, and this took place February 5th, 2005. At the time of that fight, Zab Judah had a record of 30 wins and 2 losses. Those 2 losses came from Casmo Tazu and also from Corey Spinks. So he did avenge that loss, winning the undisputed title and becoming 2-time undisputed champion for the WBA, the WBC, and the IBF. Some of his current losses in his career, though, is the loss to Katsu Tazu, and that happened on November 3rd, 2001. That was his very first loss. He also fought some great people and took some L's, man, to people such as Money Mayweather, who hasn't lost to Mayweather, right? Miguel Cotto, Joshua Clottey, and Danny Garcia. But through all of that, through his lows and through his highs and through his downfalls and to his rise, we want to go ahead and give our props, our love, our respect to nobody other than Zab Super Judah. That's right, Zab Super Judah. We want to give you your props, your flowers, tip our hats off to you, Zab. You are a champion in our eyes. And we just want to say thank you here from the creators of Coffee Talk Podcast. How y'all doing? Let me know how y'all doing today. Has your day been beautiful? Have you been dodging people that bring negative energy? You got to dodge them, y'all, because so many negative people want you to fall into their misery. They want you to hear about the story. They want to pass the stress on to you. They want to go ahead and bring you on in. They don't want you to enjoy yourself. They always want you to know what's negative and what's going on in the community that's negative, what's going on in TV that's negative. And I tell you what, you got to keep your head on your swivel, and you got to just dodge all that negative stuff, man. And one way you can do that is by being in control of what you're willing to deal with. So, may that help anybody that wants to stay with positive light around them. You know what I mean? All right, so I got a beautiful read. It's definitely informative. It's called Specialized Knowledge, and it's actually out of this good book right here. Can y'all see that? That is by Napoleon Hill, and it's called Think and Grow Rich and the Law of Success. So we're going to go ahead and read that tonight. It should only take about maybe a less than 5-minute read. So if you definitely have the attention span and the time, we'd be definitely glad to give you something that you may be able to use. You know what I'm saying? So let's go ahead and read it right now as we, shall we? Chapter 5, Specialized Knowledge, Personal Experiences or Observations, the fourth step toward riches. Let's go. And I'm going to turn my light up a little bit, if y'all don't mind, so I can be able to read this to y'all, right? All right. Grab my pen too so I can follow through. All right. There are two kinds of knowledge. One is general. The other is specialized general knowledge. No matter how great in quantity or variety it may be, is of but little use in the acclamation of money. The faculties of the great universities possess and to aggregate practically every form of general knowledge known to civilization. Most of the professors have but little or no money. They specialize on teaching knowledge, but they do not specialize on the organization or the use of knowledge. Knowledge will not attract money unless it is organized and intelligently directed. I'm going to say that again. Knowledge will not attract money unless it is organized and intelligently directed through practical plans of action to the definite end of acclimatization of money. Y'all remember yesterday's show when we was talking about Dame Dash, and he had stated something that pertains to that. Lack of understanding of this fact has been the source of confusion to millions of people who falsely believe that knowledge is power. It is nothing of the sort. Knowledge is only potential power. It becomes power only when and if it is organized into a definite plan of action and directed to a definite end. This missing link in all systems of education known to civilization today may be found in the failure of educational institutes to teach their students how to organize and use knowledge after they acquire it. So right now in our urban schools, in our communities, they teach you knowledge somewhat, but they don't teach you finances. They don't teach you how to create generational wealth. They don't teach you how to go about and get you a business. They teach you how to just be a worker. Many people make the mistake of assuming that because Henry Ford had but little schooling, he is not a man of education. Those who make this mistake don't know Henry Ford, nor do they understand the real meaning of the word educate. The word is derived from the Latin word of educo, meaning to induce, to draw out, to develop from within. An educated man is not necessarily one who has the abundance of general or specialized knowledge. An educated man is one who has so developed the faculties of his mind that he may acquire anything he wants or its equivalent without violating the rights of others. Henry Ford comes well within the meaning of this definition. During the World War, a Chicago newspaper published certain editorials in which, among other statements, Henry Ford was called an ignorant pacifist. Mr. Ford objected to the statements and brought suit against the paper for labeling him. When the suit was tried in the courts, the attorneys for the paper pleaded justification and placed Mr. Ford himself on the witness stand for the purpose of proving to the jury that he was ignorant. The attorneys asked Mr. Ford for a great variety of questions, all of them intended to prove by his own evidence that while he might possess considerable specialized knowledge pertaining to the manufacture of automobiles, he was in the main ignorant. Mr. Ford pleaded with such questions as the following: who was Benedict Arnold, and how many soldiers did the British send over to America to put down the rebellion of 1776? In answers to the last question, Mr. Ford replied, I do not know the exact number of soldiers the British sent over, but I have heard that it was a considerable large number that ever went back. Finally, Mr. Ford became tired of this line of questioning, and in reply to a particular offensive question, he leaned over and pointed his fingers at the lawyer who asked the question and said, if I should really want to answer the foolish question you have just asked, or any of the other questions you have been asking me, let me remind you that I have a row of electric push buttons on my desk. And by pushing the right button, I can summon to my aid men who can answer any question I desire to ask concerning the business to which I am devoting most of my efforts. Now, will you kindly tell me why I should clutter up my mind with general knowledge for the purpose of being able to answer questions when I have men around me who can supply any knowledge I require? Listen, 50 Cent said that one time as well. 50 Cent said, you know, I have hired people from Harvard to answer my questions for me. There certainly was good logic to that reply. That answer floored the lawyer. Every person in the courtroom realized it was the answer, not of an ignorant man, but a man of education. Any man is educated who knows where to get knowledge when he needs it. I'm going to say that again. Any man is educated who knows where to get knowledge when he needs it, and how to organize that knowledge into a definite plans of action. Through the assistance of his mastermind group, Henry Ford had his command all the specialized knowledge he needed to enable him to become one of the wealthiest men in America. It was not essential that he have this knowledge in his own mind. Surely no person who has sufficient inclination and intelligence to read a book of this nature can possibly miss the significance of this illustration. Before you can be sure of your ability to transmute desire into monetary equivalent, you will require specialized knowledge of the service, the merchandise, or the profession which you intend to offer in return for fortune. Perhaps you may need much more specialized knowledge than you have the ability or the inclination to inquire. And this should be true. You may bridge your weaknesses through the aid of your mastermind group. Andrew Carnegie stated that he personally knew nothing about the technical end of the steel business. Moreover, he did not particularly care to know anything about it. The specialized knowledge which is required for the manufacture and marketing of steel, he found available through the individual units of the mastermind group. The accumulation of great fortune calls for power, and power is acquired through highly organized and intelligently directed specialized knowledge. But that knowledge does not necessarily have to be in the possession of the man who accumulates the fortune. The preceding paragraph should give hope and encouragement to the man with ambition to accumulate a fortune, who has not possessed himself of the necessary education to supply such specialized knowledge as he may require. Men sometimes go through life suffering from inferiority complexes because they are not men of education. The man who can organize and direct a mastermind group of men who possess knowledge useful in the acclamation of money is just as much a man of education as any man in the group. Remember this: if you suffer from a feeling of inferiority because your schooling has been limited, Thomas A. Edison had only 3 months of schooling during his entire life. He did not lack education, nor did he die poor. Henry Ford had less than a 6th grade schooling, but he has managed to do pretty well by himself financially. Specialized knowledge is among the most plentiful and the cheapest forms of service which may be had. If you doubt this, consult the payroll of any university. It pays to know how to purchase knowledge. First of all, decide the sort of specialized knowledge you require and the purpose for which it is needed. To a large extent, your major purpose in life, the goal toward which you are working, will help determine what knowledge you need. With this question settled, your next move requires that you have accurate information concerning dependable sources of knowledge. The more important of these is number 1, one's own experience and education. Number 2, experience and education available through cooperation of others, a mastermind alliance. Number 3, colleges and universities. Number 4, public libraries through books and periodicals in which may be found all the knowledge organized by civilization. And number 5, specialized training courses through night schools and home study schools in particular. As knowledge is required, it must be organized and put into some use for a definite purpose through practical plans. Knowledge has no value except that which can be gained from its application towards some worthy end. This is one reason why college degrees are not valued more highly. They represent nothing but miscellaneous knowledge. If you contemplate taking additional schooling, first determine the purpose for which you want the knowledge you are seeking. Then learn where this particular sort of knowledge can be obtained from reliable sources. Successful men in our callings never stop acquiring specialized knowledge related to their major purpose, business, or profession. Those who are not successfully useful make the mistake of believing that the knowledge acquiring period ends when one finishes school. And I tell people that, I'm going to pause for a second, but I tell people that all the time, is that just because you go to a school, just because you go to a university, just because you give 8 hours of classroom and being there for classroom instruction, you can't go from there and then go home and then never study for weeks at a time. Because what that does is that's allowing someone to control the information being given to you. You're not seeking out the education of educating yourself. And knowledge is useless unless you apply the knowledge. Absolutely. Let's continue. The truth is that schooling does but little more than to put one in the way of learning how to acquire practical knowledge. With this changed world, which began at the end of the economic collapse, came also astounding changes in educational requirements. The order of the day is specialization. The truth was emphasized by Robert P. Moore, Secretary of Appointments of Columbia University. Thank you. And that was chapter 5, called Specialized Knowledge, part of the book by Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich and the Law of Success. Make sure you order this book. You can get this on Amazon, but make sure you keep this in your personal library. All right, so that's our show for tonight. Go ahead and let us know what you think. Go ahead and leave a comment, hit the share button, and don't forget to subscribe. You definitely can subscribe. We appear on YouTube as well as Facebook Live. So definitely continue to support Coffee Talk Podcast, the Cultural Variety Podcast Show. We really, really appreciate y'all for tuning in at least once a week, but you can't catch us 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. Some days we alternate, and you can catch us on a Sunday night or on a Friday night. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and hit you with the universal peace sign. Thank you again for tuning into our show. It was my pleasure. Thank you for tuning in to Coffee Talk Podcast. And we'll see you later on this weekend. Thank you. Peace and love. We out of here.